Hey people, it's Nias talking. This is a very important piece of Black history and Black British history that I wanted to cover, and it's not often talked about. I don't even think it was covered in school. I only learned about it when I was doing my own reading, and this is called the Brixton Riot. Now, I'm going to give some history on this. Now, around the 50s, what do you call it, black people and Asian people started immigrating to the UK. Now, black people settled all over London, but one of the main places was Brixton in South London. And for those of you who are fans of Boys in the Hood, yeah, you could say it's South Central London. Anyway, now it was okay for a long time. Well, sort of. But as time went on and the UK was hit with a recession in the early 70s, problems began arising. A lot of unemployment happened. And the thing is that in Brixton, the police often had a history of racism, and the London police generally. And you would often have stories of them using what they call the sus laws, stop and search. They would find any black person, predominantly black men, and stop and search them. Okay? And around the early 80s, like 1980, 1981, things were really, really bad. Like in Brixton, there was so much unemployment, it was 50%. Now, currently, in some places where there is a high unemployment rate in this country today, like the city of Liverpool in northwest England, I think they say it's like 15 to 25%. Brixton had like 50% unemployment for black men at that time, so you can see how huge it was. And the thing is, with so many black men who were out of a job, they would just walk the streets, nothing to do, and that made them a target for the police. You would often, because they would often say, well, what are you doing? And then grab them off the street and arrest them, and then charge them with something. Well, not so much charge them, but just general stop and search harassment. Now, one of the other things is that there was a place called Railton Road in Brixton, which was nicknamed by the local police and residents the front line. Now, this is a place where a lot of crime happened, but it was where a lot of black men went because the police were afraid to go. They could stay there without fear of being targeted for BWB, breathing while black. Now, around 18th of January 1981, now this is all building up, it didn't just happen in one go. A number of black youths died in a fire at a house party in New Cross, which is a neighboring borough in Lewisham, just about a few miles away. Now, although the authorities claim it was accidental and a fire started from inside the house, it was suspected to have been a racially motivated arson attack by someone outside the property. And the police investigation was criticized as inadequate for not exploring the possibility. And a lot of people claimed that the police just didn't care. Okay? Now, wait. There was a lot of crime happening in Brixton. Now, that's what a lot of people say, that even black people who grew up there, it was known as a bit of a dangerous place. But the thing is, the way the police behaved is they viewed the community, how would you say it, as not a people that needed protecting, but as a threat that had to be dealt with by any means necessary. So you can understand how the mentality was, which was that, these are people that do not need to be treated civilly. They can be harassed by any means. So let me go on. I'm reading off the Wikipedia. So around the beginning of April, the Metropolitan Police began Operation Swamp 81. And this inflamed tensions because it was a plainclothes operation designed to reduce crime. Within 1 week, 1,000 people had been stopped and searched, or close to it. And this was inflaming tensions. Now, again, this created a lot of public dissatisfaction and anger because there was, like I said, loads of problems in the community. There was a lot of poverty, there was a lot of unemployment, and the police harassment on top of that. So this operation just fueled problems. Now, the public disfavor came to a head on Friday, 10th of April. At 5:15 p.m., a police constable spotted a black youth named Michael Bailey running towards him, apparently away from 3 other black youths. Bailey was stopped and found to be bleeding, but broke away from the constable. He was stopped again on Atlantic Road. Bailey was found to have a 4-inch stab wound. He ran into a flat and was helped by a family and the police constable there by putting kitchen roll on his wound. A crowd gathered, and as the police tried to take the wounded boy to a minicab on Railton Road, the crowd tried to think intervened, thinking the police did not appear to be providing or seeking the medical help Bailey needed quickly enough. And given their history of targeting the community, it's not surprising to see why they would think that. And as the minicab pulled away at speed, a police car arrived and stopped the cab. When an officer from the police realized Bailey was injured, he moved into the back of the police car to take him to hospital more quickly and bound his wound more tightly to stop the bleeding. A group of 50 youths began to shout for Bailey's release, thinking the police were arresting him. And they shouted, "Look, they're killing him." The crowd descended the police car and pulled him out, although the officers were trying to take him to hospital. The youths dispatched him to hospital and told officers, "Let us look after our own." Now, the thing is, the rumors had spread that a youth had been left to die by the police, or the police looked on as the stabbed youth was lying on in the street. Now, over 200 young men, black and white, predominantly black, turned on the police. In response, the police decided to increase the number of foot patrols in Railton Road. Again, that was considered the only safe place in the whole area, and that created a lot of tension. Now, overnight, the community believed that the stabbed youth had died as a result of police brutality. This was obviously a tipping point, that they had been harassing them so much, and they felt that they might have even have killed him outright, which was obviously quite a scary thing. It wasn't true, but by that point, the reputation and the relations between the police and the community had been so sour that anything was possible as far as they were concerned. By this time, Brixton High Street was reportedly filled with angry people, and police cars were pelted with bricks. Around 5 p.m., the tension escalated and spread, and the 9 p.m. BBC News Bulletin that evening reported 46 officers injured, 5 seriously. Shops were looted on Railton Road, Mile Road, Leeson Road, Acre Lane, and Brixton Road. The looting reportedly started around 6 p.m., 6:15. Okay, well, I'm not going to keep reading all this. I'll just get to the aftermath. During the disturbances, 299 police were injured, along with at least 65 members of the public. 61 private vehicles and 56 police vehicles were destroyed. 28 premises were burned, and over 117 damaged and looted. 82 arrests were made. Between 3rd and 11th July of that year, there was more unrest fueled by racial and social discord at Handsworth in Birmingham, Southall in London, Toxteth in Liverpool, Hyson Green in Nottingham, and Moss Side in Manchester. There were smaller pockets of unrest in Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, Halifax, Bedford. Racial tensions played a major part in most of these disturbances, although all the riots took place in areas hit particularly hard by unemployment recession. The Home Secretary, William Whitelaw, commissioned a public inquiry into a riot headed by Lord Scarman. The Scarman report was published by Susanna de Freitas on 25th November 1981. Scarman found unquestionable evidence of the disproportionate and indiscriminate use of stop-and-search powers by the police against black people. As a consequence, a new code for police behavior was put forward in the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, and the Act also created an independent police complaints authority established in 1985 to attempt to restore public confidence in the police. Scarman concluded that complex political, social, and economic factors created a disposition towards violent protest. The 1999 Macpherson report, an investigation into the murder of Stephen Lawrence and the failure of the police to establish sufficient evidence for the prosecution of charged suspects, found the recommendations of the 1981 Scarman report had been ignored. The report concluded that the police force was institutionally racist. This report, which did not cover the event of the Brixton riots, disagreed with the conclusions made by Scarman. And one of the other things I want to add, I was listening to one of the documentaries, which I will leave in the description, but one thing that people will try and say was it was a race riot. It was not a race riot. It was not black citizens versus white citizens. It was black citizens versus the police, because they had become sick of the way that the police then treated them, and the police viewed the behavior like an occupying force against the black citizens. And of course, that, with all the other problems of unemployment and poverty and hardship in the area, exploded, unfortunately. Now, I just want to say a few things. Now, I'm going to put up a couple of writers you can read. Now, the first is Alex Wheatle. He was from Brixton. He wrote about the riots and made some novels. And I read some of his books, and they're pretty good. And the other one is Benjamin Zephaniah. Now, he didn't grow up in London. He grew up in Birmingham, Handsworth, which is a heavily Jamaican area. And for those of you who don't know, Birmingham is a very heavily segregated city, much more so than London. North Birmingham is predominantly, Jamaican and Pakistani. Anyway, like I said, I hope you found this information useful. I'm going to leave some links in the description so you can find some information and get more in depth on this, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. I'll leave my PayPal in the description if you want to support the channel, and my Instagram. Peace, family.